What's up, NFL fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and purchase your copy of our latest football game plan book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. We have these available in both PDF and paperback form. Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you my 2015 NFL Draft Prospect Rankings video. We're taking a look at the wide receiver position. We're going to look at my top 10, some small school prospects, as well as some sleepers that you want to keep an eye on. First, let's take a look at what goes into my prospect rankings. Number one, it's a trait focus base instead of a level of competition base. I don't care where you play, traits translate. Now look at 3 games: your best game, player's worst game, and also the best matchup and or competition. And finally, these are not indicative of where I believe these players will actually go in April's draft. And this year, we're going to rate the receivers in a different way. We're going to grade the prospects and rank them according to the best position fit at the next level, whether or not they're a split receiver or X, a flanker or a Z, slot, which could be either a Y or S, depending if the tight end is on the field. The slot back is what it is called in Canadian football, but we're going to call it the F position, which is your 4th receiver, and your utility player, which could be your 5th wide receiver. Ben Koyak out of Notre Dame is my number 1 rated inline prospect at the tight end position. This is a guy that compares favorably to Heath Miller of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when I look at his game on film, he's an excellent blocker. He plays under control, so he's never out of position. He has very good hands, and also his route running is excellent. Now, he has marginal short area bursts, but when you look at a guy that can get open underneath, can do things after the catch, I think he's one of the most solid prospects, all-around prospects at the tight end position in this year's draft. Clive Walford out of Miami at 6'4", 254 pounds is a good all-around player that had an excellent week of practice down at the Senior Bowl this year. I believe he was the best tight end in attendance. He's an excellent reach blocker. I love that about his game. It instantly jumps out at you on film. Some say he can play only H-back or flexed out as a flex tight end, but I think he has the skills to play inline, which is why I rate him as my number 2 guy. And again, he has good to short to intermediate receiving skills. Now, he isn't dynamic enough to be flexed in my opinion. He only has that decent speed, but good enough to where I can compare him to Jeff Cumberland that plays for the New York Jets. Blake Bell out of Oklahoma was a former quarterback for the Sooners that made the move to tight end and fully embraced the position switch. He's a very good athlete, and he had an excellent week of practice down at the East-West Shrine game. Actually got called up to the Senior Bowl, but a hand injury kept him out of that week of practice in Mobile. Now, he executes the combo blocks very well. He's a good receiver, and his route running skills are above average. Pretty impressive for a guy just making the move to tight end. Now, blocking from a technical and functional point of view is a place where he'll have to improve, and you expect that from a guy that's just making that switch to a different position, but overall solid skill set and warrants a 4th round grade. Being both a fundamentally and technically sound player, I like what I see out of Gerald Christian of Louisville, who's an excellent point of attack blocker and also a guy that moves well within his routes. Now, he must learn to finish blocks. Too many times you see guys slipping off his blocks. He has to finish those things until the whistle blows, and he doesn't always catch the football cleanly, which could cause drops at the next level. And he's not overly athletic, but enough overall skill set as an inline player whose game is comparable to Ed Dixon of the Carolina Panthers. I got the chance to see Nick Boyle out of Delaware live versus Towson this year, and he's a strong point of attack guy. Reminds me a lot of Luke Stocker that plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's an excellent blocking tight end. Solid pass catching skills as well, although he wasn't utilized a lot in the passing game at Delaware this season. He's a solid rack guy. You see that when he gets the football in his hands, he's always going forward and knows what to do with the ball. Now, he's stiff athletically. He's not overly explosive or a Sutton player, but in the short to intermediate game, as a number 2 tight end, I think he could excel as a pro. Devin Mahina out of BYU is arguably the best blocker in this year's draft class. He's also a guy that reads coverages well on the fly and has dependable and reliable hands in the passing game. That he has marginal speed and lacks the explosiveness to be a quote-unquote elite level tight end. I think he'll fit well as number 2 guy, and I compare him to Lee Smith of the Buffalo Bills. Jeff Heuerman out of Ohio State blocks well for a college tight end at 6'5", 255 pounds. He's a decent and dependable hands catcher and also has savvy route running skills, a guy that will always find a soft spot in the zone. Now, he's an okay athlete and he doesn't explode out of his breaks. I believe he'll have to play faster as a pro, but overall solid skill set, graded out as a 6th-round prospect in my opinion. Now, what I like most about Jesse James's game out of Penn State is that he's a sure-handed pass catcher. Here's a guy that can go up and play above the rim. He can make the contested catch. He catches everything thrown his way, and he's also a very good blocker and has good spatial awareness. Now, he has no explosiveness or burst coming off the ball. He's limited athletically and also doesn't have the change of direction skills that will make him an elite player, and he plays a little bit too high. At times, you see his full height. He plays 6'7". I think he's going to have to play with better pad level as he moves on to the next level. So let's recap my inline tight end prospect ranking, starting with number 1. These are color-coded by round grade, and this is the 2nd round. There's no 1st-round graded prospects this year as far as inline tight ends are concerned. You see Ben Koyak, in my opinion, graded out as the best one in this year's group. Even down with number 7 and number 8, Jeff Heuerman, and also Jesse James, 2 guys that played a lot of football at their respective colleges coming out of the Big Ten, are very good and solid inline tight end prospects. And be sure to check out part 2 of our 2015 NFL Draft tight end prospect rankings as we break down the H-back position.